Welcome to Opening the Word for the 14th Sunday in Ordinary Time. Today's Gospel reading is a continuation of the story that we saw unfold last week, where disciples of John the Baptist were sent by John to talk to Jesus and ask Jesus if he was the Messiah, or the one who was to come into the world. Now, when Jesus answered their question, he didn't answer in a very direct way, if you remember. What he did is he pointed the disciples of John to all of the different miracles that Jesus had been performing throughout the countryside of Galilee in order to awaken them to the possibility that Jesus was actually performing all of the signs that the prophets had foretold the Messiah would perform. So our reading this week picks up right after that conversation. And Jesus does a very strange thing at the close of that conversation with the disciples. He immediately turns to prayer to the Father. And he says, "I give praise to you, Father, Lord of heaven and earth, for although you have hidden these things from the wise and the learned, you have revealed them to the little ones." Well, what are these hidden things that Jesus is referring to? Well, he's referring ultimately to the kingdom of God, the kingdom of the Messiah. And the kingdom is hidden. Well, hidden from who? Well, it's hidden from those who do not have eyes to see the nature of this kingdom. Those perhaps who are proud and arrogant, who are full of themselves and have a very different understanding of what a kingdom ought to look like. But Jesus was manifesting the kingdom of God by the way in which he was reaching out in his ministry to all of the people that were broken and wounded and in need of healing. So after he makes this prayer, he then goes on to state, "Father, such has been your gracious will. All things have been handed over to me by my Father. No one knows the Son except the Father, and no one knows the Father except the Son, and anyone to whom the Son wishes to reveal him." Again, well, who does Jesus reveal the Father to? He reveals the Father to those that are humble, those who are little and poor in spirit. And so our gospel passage then ends with a kind of exhortation where Jesus calls all those people that are weary, that are tired, that are burdened with life, to come to him, because he will lay upon them a yoke or a burden which is light and easy to carry. And I think the question that we have to ask ourselves is, well, what is this yoke and what is this burden that Jesus lays upon us that is really easy? And I think the answer to that question is faith. If you recall, all of the people that Jesus heals, okay, they were all healed because they came to believe in Jesus. They had faith in Jesus. They went to Jesus and reached out to him and asked him for healing. And because of their faith, they were not only healed, but they were also saved from their sins. Well, I think the same call comes to us. Oftentimes we are so burdened in life. Maybe the burdens that we share are economic burdens. Maybe we have a disease or a disability. Or maybe our life circumstances are very difficult. We find ourselves experiencing great anxiety and stress or whatever. Well, why do we oftentimes bear those burdens alone? That's the question. We shouldn't. We can go to Jesus, we can go to the Lord, and we can ask the Lord to carry and shoulder that burden with us. And so the Lord is asking us to come to him and to carry the yoke of faith, because the yoke of faith makes carrying all these other burdens in life so much easier. The lesson I really want you to take away from this Sunday's gospel readings is this: do you bring your burdens to the Lord? Do you go to the Lord in faith, in meekness and in humility, and ask him to help you in your need? We are all called as disciples of Christ to shoulder the burden of faith, the yoke of faith. And it's faith that's going to really set us free and allow us to live as children of God in the kingdom of God.